Welcome home, Professor Nkondo. That would be my topic if I had time. On the face of it, this is a very mundane and regular ritual that is undertaken by dozens of young and old men annually on occasions such as this. But I would like to suggest that this simple act of putting on the Madonna uniform is far more profound than meets the eye. Each of the men who took up the robes today came to the point of robing via unique, divergent, and uneven paths. Though the robes may look the same, the robed men are anything but homogeneous. To arrive at this point, they traversed different terrains, crossing many rivers large and small. For some, it was a 100-meter sprint in dead heat. For others, it was half a marathon. There are those who waited for the angel to come and trouble the waters before they started to wade through until they arrived at this point. And yet for some, it was a long journey, a lifetime of seeking, of probing, of discerning that brought them to this point. The thought leader, scholar, and visionary that Professor Nkondo is, you can be sure that he has considered this matter very carefully. You can bet your bottom dollar that Professor Nkondo has thought through all the pros and cons, all the yeses and all the nos, all the what-ifs and all the what-nots. There is no aspect of any argument for or argument against joining Madonna that he has not thought about before he came to this point. You can be sure of that. I'm certain that he has also thought very carefully about the raison d'être of Madonna. That is the reason for the Madonna to exist. For ours is a country where being a man, let alone being a man who publicly professes to be Christian, has become complicated. South African men, young and old, are deeply implicated in almost each of the social problems faced by the country at this time. There can be very little doubt that Professor Nkondo considered taking up the Madonna robes while already thinking about ways in which men may cease to be part of the problem and become part of the solution. Come then, let me invite you to walk with me down memory lane. I want you to come with me to southwestern township of the late 1930s and 1940s. If you come with me, we will be met and welcomed by the sounds of penny whistles and marabi music. If we go to a street called Balandine, we shall find there another Nkondo. His name was Gideon 5 Sono, together with his wife Josephine Baloyi. In those days, in the 1930s and 40s, the Swiss mission in South Africa, also known then as La Mission Romande dans l'Afrique du Sud, had not established a footprint in Pretoria and Johannesburg areas. So Gideon Sono had joined the local Methodist church, and there he fell in love with the Methodist Church Men's Guild. He immediately, this Gideon Sono, Gideon Hlungwane, Gideon Nkondo, if you like, started sharing his love of the Methodist Church Guild with his Orlando Township-based brother, Ephraim Sono. And together, the Sono brothers, Ephraim and Gideon, began to conspire about how the same men's guild could be started inside the Swiss Mission Church. Unfortunately, Gideon Sono did not live to see his dream come true. He died in 1943 or thereabouts. But his younger brother, Ephraim 5 Sono, affectionately known as Oom 5, fulfilled that dream. but it was not easy. The main objection against the establishment of the Men's Guild inside the Swiss mission was that they felt that the concept was too foreign, too Methodist, too Zionist, and too un-Swiss mission-like. OM5 is also the father of Skara Sono, the father of Jomo Sono, the famous soccer player, perhaps the best soccer player this country has ever produced. Now, if you are a Hlungwane, if you are a Golele, or if you are a Maluleke and you don't support Orlando Pirates, I don't know what's wrong with you. OM5 Sono, having become blind in his adult years, could be seen traversing the streets of Soweto, the streets of Johannesburg, the streets of Doornfontein with the young Jomo Sono on his side, campaigning tirelessly for the establishment of the Men's Guild in the Swiss Mission Church. Imbued with the spirit of his late brother Gideon Sono, Ephraim Sono went on to establish the first group of Madonna at the Orlando East Swiss Mission Church in the early 1950s. At that time, he served as evangelist at Orlando East and Meadowlands. And that's not all. Ephraim Sono, Ephraim Hlungwane, is also founder of the Shawelo parish of the EPCSA. He founded it inside a shack that was the home of his brother, Bernard Sono, in Shawelo. In 1955, OM5, Ephraim Sono, persuaded the entire synod of the Swiss mission in South Africa to formally recognize the Men's Guild, and he became its founding president. He was later replaced by Reverend E.A. Jemike as president, but for leadership, the latter relied on the former. In other words, Jemike was the titular head, but he really didn't know what was going on. It was OM5 Sono who was running the show. Here we are today, 65 years later. Professor Muxe Nkondo, a member of the extended Sono Hlungwane clan, signs up for membership of the Men's Guild, founded by his great-grand-uncle or brother. It is in this sense that I say, welcome home, Professor Muxe Nkondo. The body you have signed up for could not have existed without the efforts of the Sono brothers, Gideon and Ephraim. The churches of Orlando East, Meadowlands, and Shawelo might not have come to pass was it not for the Sono brothers, Ephraim and Bernard. Few people played as crucial a role in the establishment of the Swiss mission footprint in the Gauteng area as members of your own family, your own clan. So welcome home, Professor Nkondo. The second sense in which I want to welcome Professor Nkondo home is that Professor Nkondo is himself the son of an evangelist who worked around the Pfukani area. It is in honor of the church tradition of his own parents that Professor Nkondo and his nephew have opted to take up membership of the Men's Guild today. There is a third and slightly broader sense in which I wish to welcome Professor Nkondo home. Home to the faith community that for the 100 years stretching from 1875 to 1975 did more than any other institution to promote the development of the people of the Spelonken area, as it was called then, the Northern Province once called and now known as Limpopo. I welcome home to this faith community whose developmental impact was so comprehensive, encompassing matters religious, matters educational, matters agricultural, musical, the arts, artisanry, as well as health. I welcome you, Professor Nkondo, to this community of pioneers who, while they were believers in Jesus Christ, they were also educationists, they were also thinkers, they were poets, they were essayists, and they were composers. I welcome Professor Nkondo home to this community of faith, which has historical affinity with creativity, rationality, and scientific thinking. You are home indeed. You are not among strangers. Welcome home, Professor Nkondo. Hiri hoyo hoyo. Loko mingu vona atetani. Muxe Nkondo ijahara kanhlungwana. Lava ivatukulu vananga hulu. Lava ivadzambala vahlungwa vukosi hi vandzila. Va masungula hi ku fuma xivuya hi vulanda. Va hlamba xilebvu. Swi nga leswi kwe. Hi loyi n'wana wa Ephraim wa Nkondo, Nkondo wa Mbhanya Matluka wa Xihenya, yena lowo tumbuluka kwale swikundwini swa Maledza na Zinjiva. Hambiloko va hlunguwile vuhosi hi vatukulu, tihosi ta ntiyiso hi vona, futhi vuhosi byo va be phokeni leswi va nga mbala juniform ya Madonna. Xiyimo xa vona xa vuhosi xo vuya xi ta ku mo. But there is finally a different and slightly more challenging sense in which I wish to welcome Professor Nkondo home. The truth is that the home we are welcoming you to does not really exist. Not yet. We are welcoming you, Professor Nkondo, to the home of our dreams, meaning it exists mainly, if not only, in our dreams. More helpfully, let me call it a home under construction. But our home has been under construction since 1872, when Eliakim Matlanyane, Josiah Molepo, and Asser Sekhakhabane arrived in Valdez. I want to welcome you to this home, which is under construction, under perpetual construction. So when I say welcome home, Professor, I mean welcome home to the factory. Welcome home to a home that is being built, to a place where homes are built. Knowing that you are a poet and a literature scholar, please allow me as I conclude to stray into your territory. I'm trespassing without a visa. There is a poem that was written 211 years ago by the great English poet William Blake. This poem has come to be known simply as Jerusalem. It is one of the most culturally influential poems ever written. It is a poem based, among others, on a myth. The myth that as a young boy, Jesus, together with Joseph Arimathea, once visited England. To my uninitiated layman's mind, this poem is about home, the idea of home, the imagination of home, and above all, the commitment to the meticulous construction of home. With this poem, I welcome you to the duty of helping us imagine, helping us build a new home for all South Africans. Jerusalem by William Blake. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon South Africa's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on South Africa's pleasant pastures seen? Did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, O clouds unfold. Bring me my chariots of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword slip in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in South Africa's green and pleasant land. Thank you very much.